Hi, you're back with me again, JD, and welcome to another episode of Weekly Update Wednesday. Oh, but before I continue on, here's a little message from a good friend of ours.
What's up, y'all? This is B-Real from Cypress Hill. A message to everyone in Malaysia, Manila, and Bangkok who are under COVID lockdown. Remember to stay safe, positive, both mentally and emotionally. Here's a special lockdown performance from my boys in Project EAR performing their hit, Disappear. Stay safe, y'all. Peace.
A big thank you to B-Real of Cypress Hill for that shout out. And if you wonder what he's talking about, me and my brothers in Project EAR, we recorded, during this whole lockdown period, a version of one of our singles that's from the upcoming Project EAR album. It's called Disappear, right? You can go and check it out. I'm going to leave the link somewhere up here and also down in the description below, right? So a very, very big thank you, for such a giant in the hip hop scene and the music industry to be willing to like say a few words, and to shout out for us. All right, thank you, B-Real. Okay, so what's been going on in the studio? Couple of things, all right. The production on Zubira's album, all right, is ongoing. We've kind of resumed it over the weekend. We finished recording the vocals and a couple of guitar overdubs, so we're about halfway done. Actually a little bit more than that, because all the things such as drums, bass and all that was already done previously. So about 3 out of 6 songs, so we got another 3 more songs to go with mainly vocals, the lead vocals, backing vocals, probably some guitar overdubs here and there, and then it's off to mix already. Zubira and I go back way long time ago. He was probably one of my earliest clients and earliest projects which I actually produced. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, he's probably my, he's probably, if not the first, the second album which I was entrusted and hired to produce. Back then, I think I was kind of still either in my final year as a music and audio student back in ICOM, and I was a young kid, fresh out of music college, and given an opportunity to produce an album. So he's a fantastic songwriter, awesome guitar player. He's been a good friend, really good friend over the years, So. Big shout out and a big thank you to Zubira for entrusting me back then, way back then. Even back then, I was still working out of my home studio, out of my apartment, and it's kind of where the name 2105 comes to, but I'll leave that story for another day, okay? Right, so glad to be able to be back again, right, working now on his brand new album. Okay, sadly to say, this might be his last album, because it's kind of what he said, but this is kind of special, right? This album is a little bit special, so stand by for news, right? And once it's done, when it's ready, I'll keep you guys updated. Couple of other things as well. So there's been a little bit of a shortage of MixStream songs, MixStream projects. So in place of that, I've been doing these Ask Me Anything AMA sessions on Facebook Live, and you guys seem to enjoy it a lot, So I got a real good response, and a lot of people joined in, tuned in, and you sent in your questions as well, and we chatted, we talked on a lot of topics. So what I did is I've actually uploaded the replay of last week's AMA session on the YouTube channel. You can check it out. It's on the. I'll leave a link to the video, so please do check it out. Okay, all right. Uh, what else? Okay, don't forget, direct access band search is still on. If you are an independent and unsigned band, do send in your demos or send in your rough mixes. Okay, if you're selected, if you are a winner, you get a chance to have me produce, record, mix, and help you get a song done entirely for free. All right, it's something that's part of the direct access music production workshop, the direct access program, which I kind of do every year. So check it out. Again, there's a video. Last week's video explains the entire process. So again, head down to check it out, right, for the explanation and the description and more details are basically. By the time you're watching this, this should already be the 10th of June, and for us here in Malaysia, that's a pretty significant date, right? Because this was supposed to be the date where the whole movement control order, MCO, was lifted, and of course, recently, our government just announced that we have moved into a different phase. So now we are referring to this is what we refer to as the recovery MCO. So a lot of the industries and businesses are being allowed back to operate back again. So a lot of these restrictions have been gradually been lifted, but things like interstate travel is permitted again. Domestic tourism, lots of stuff. Unfortunately, sad to say, live music is kind of still not permitted lah, right? Not kinda, it is still not permitted. Okay, right? So it's still under the list of banned activities. So obviously gigs, concerts, festivals, all that is not going to happen for a long time. And unfortunately, the musicians are the ones that are really suffering right now. So some of us, in some industries, start getting back to work as early as May, right? Early May, because that's when some of the first initial restrictions were kind of loosened a little bit. So some people, some sectors already started getting back to work. But unfortunately, now we're coming into June. It's approaching almost 3 months, since the MCO was in place, and actually, you should. The problems for musicians and live music in general even started earlier than that, because even as early as February, some shows and all that were already cancelled. So anyway, to cut the long story short, all right. We are all trying to find new and innovative ways where musicians can make a living. And having said that, we are I'm also really proud to sort of announce that I'm also jumping in this effort to help some of the live musicians. By the time you're watching this, on Thursday, which would be June 11th, right, which is tomorrow, when this video comes out on Wednesday night, so it'll be tomorrow, we'll be hosting our very first live in the studio session, right, with the band Triple X. So Triple X consists of it's a trio, right? It's a three-piece band. It consists of Colin Jensen. He's an amazing singer and a guitar player, right? So, and he's also accompanied by a good old friend of mine. His name is Vishnu Shakti, and also Clinton also on keyboards as well. Vishnu here was the one that contacted me about doing this, and he was actually one of my lecturers way back at ICOM, International College of Music. Back then, I think it was in my first or second year in ICOM, and he was teaching recording techniques as well. So it's really great to sort of reconnect with Vishnu and to work on this. So again, the links to this are on my Facebook page. There's also a Facebook event. I'll link it. I'll link you guys to the event so you can check out the live stream, which is going to be happening on Thursday, June 11th. Not sure whether there's going to be a replay of the live stream, but if there is, again, I'll update you guys on social media. All right, so without further ado, let's get down to this week's featured question. How do I convert a 44.1 kilohertz file to 48 kilohertz sampling rate? Or use a 44.1 kilohertz file in a 48 kilohertz project? Alright, this question came from Facebook, and before I dive into the answer, I think it would be very important for me to reinforce this point. Now, if you are starting any project, right, or if you are collaborating, especially if you're collaborating with other musicians, it's very important to always determine, right, in advance, to determine beforehand what's your bit depth, what's your sampling rate, basically your project settings, okay? And beyond that, also things such as your tempo, because you'll be surprised, okay? Some people even forget to set a tempo, and it can bring some other issues and sync issues as well. And if you're dealing with video, what's your frame rate? So without diving into the super technical details about sampling rates and frame rates, okay, that can be done in a different video another time. Just remember, all right, always make sure, check your project settings, make sure that what bit depth you're using. I encourage that you use 24-bit, right, or higher nowadays, because that would be the high resolution specifications nowadays, 24-bit. Always check and ensure what sampling rate. Make sure that everyone that's working or collaborating with you is going to be using the same sampling rate as well. So now, how are we going to go about converting? Okay, the process of sample rate conversion is a lot more easier these days. To my knowledge, almost every DAW has some form of a sample rate conversion built in. It would have some kind of a sample rate conversion feature. So check out whatever DAW that you are using. You could also, for example, if you already have files or tracks that you recorded and you want to export and send it over at a different sampling rate, you can export it. And when you export, there's always your export settings. If you recorded, let's say 44.1, you want to export it in 48K, so just export it in 48K. But bear in mind, here's a slight tangent, but very important. But bear in mind that if you are upsampling, let's say from a lower sampling rate to a higher sampling rate, you are not going to gain anything in terms of audio quality, okay? So that's why it's very important, right? Back to my first point of setting and determining what your sampling rate is. No point, 44.1, you upsample it to 48K, you are not going to get any better quality. Your file size is just going to increase, that's all, right? You're just going to end up with a bigger file size, taking up more hard disk space. Conversely, if you are importing files, all right, the other way around, into your project, most DAWs also have the ability to automatically sample rate convert the file that you're importing to match whatever your project settings are. Okay, so again, go into your DAW settings or your preferences. There should be a setting to determine what your import preferences are, right? So you can either do it automatically, have the DAW do it automatically when it imports the file. There are also other settings as well. I think, like, say for example, whether you want to import it into your pool, or whether you want to create like new versions, so you don't accidentally override or alter the original version, for example, the original file. Even some other options as well. Let's say if you're importing stereo or importing multi-channel files, whether upon import you want to split them into multi-mono files instead. Another way that you can do is you could also use a third-party and external audio editor or some kind of mastering software. Maybe for instance Wavelab, SoundForge, or Audacity. Like, I use Wavelab, especially if I'm dealing with a lot of files. So sometimes I may have gotten multi-tracks of files from let's say another person, another studio, another engineer or producer, and then I need to do like sample rate conversion. What it allows me to do is I can do batch processing, which is great. Because imagine if I were to have to, do sample rate conversion one by one, that would really be a pain in the ass if there's a lot of files, okay? So with Wavelab, I can always do it as a batch process. Just select what's the output, that I want. If I want to output what bit depth, what sampling rate, what file format, and just select all the files, multiple files or entire folder, and just one click of a button and it does it in the background. Voila. You could also do it online. There are also online sample rate converters, but some of them have really dubious quality. It's hard to know what's the quality of their sample rate conversion. If you really have no choice, that's probably what I can give a try, right? But back to my earlier point, I think almost every DAW has that feature and that ability to do all this kind of sample rate conversion works already. So hope that helps. Now, in the past, when in instances where sometimes you get some weird sample rate mix-ups, okay, right? So because what happens is sometimes if you import a file, let's say you import a 44.1 kilohertz sampling rate file into a 48 kilohertz project. What happens is that the project at a high sampling rate will read that file at the higher sampling rate. What happens is that file plays back faster and also at a higher pitch, so you end up maybe with robotic or chipmunk sounding vocals. And inversely, same thing. If you, let's say, from 48K, if you bring it to a 44.1, the pitch will drop and then it also starts slowing down. So in the rare instances where that happens, okay, there's actually an application which you can use, right, which is called Header Investigator. Okay, so what it does is that what happens is each file has the file header, which contains the metadata, which tells the software what sampling rate it is. Okay, so the sampling rate, all this kind of metadata is always actually embedded inside the file header. So what this app does is it allows you to go in and open the file header, the metadata inside there, and edit it, right? So usually when the very rare occasion that happens, some kind of weird sampling rate screw up or mix up, and somehow you can't get the other party to fix it on their end, right? This will be quite a lifesaver as well. I'll leave a link to the description. It's a really tiny file. There are also some other features which you can also edit inside the header, but I tend to not to touch that because there's always a risk of really messing and screwing things up. And whenever you do this kind of file metadata editing and all that, I always do advise that you always do a backup of the files, of the original files first, because just in case you accidentally screw up or you mess up something, you still always have your original version. Okay, so I hope that answers your question. Again, if you have any sort of questions, right, or you have any comments that you want to leave, please do leave it down below in the comments. I would really love to hear from you guys out there. So remember, again, just to recap, direct access band search is still on. Check out the last week's video for details. If you found this video helpful, useful, please do leave a like. We appreciate if you can share it, and if you can, take a moment, head down and click subscribe, right? Because it will really help to support my channel. Okay. Remember also to click on the notification bell, because this will update you every time I upload a new video on this channel. And if you'd like to also help to support this channel financially, please do head down and check out my Patreon page. Patreon is a crowdfunding website, so you can sign up to become a patron at this website below, www.patreon.com/studio2105. If you sign up to become a patron, not only are you supporting the channel financially, it helps me to keep on creating new content, but you also get some perks, some special benefits, exclusive content, one-on-one mentoring and tutorial sessions, some discount codes and discount coupons as well. So head on down right to the website below and sign up, become a patron today. And just before I wrap up the video, thank you again for watching, right? Thank you for supporting the channel. I hope you guys continue to stay safe, stay healthy. I know a lot of restrictions have been lifted. We can go out now again, but remember always, right? It's always a good habit to wash your hands, take care of your personal hygiene, and make sure that you maintain your social distancing as well. Okay? Stay safe, stay healthy, stay happy, and I hope to see you again next week. Take care. Bye.